does Madeline Sagstrom do that you don't? Today we're going to show you one thing to check the next time you're at the driving range. Pull out your tripod, put that camera behind you, and check this one thing, and I guarantee you probably don't do it. But by doing it, you could increase your distance, you could increase your accuracy, and I won't even charge you $49.95. By checking this and trying to improve this move, you might hit more fairways, and as a result, hit more greens. Who doesn't like that on a New Year's? So make sure you stay through the whole video because I'm going to show you this move, and make sure you also work with a golf coach near you because they can really help you get that move. But if you can't afford one, I get it. I host a thing here on Sundays at 6 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time where you send me your face on and down the line view of your swing and I help you for free. Happy New Year. Let's get started. For all of you non-believers, we're going to take a look at Madeline's statistics and talk about fairways hit and then greens hit. And if you notice right here, it says greens hit from fairway percentage 80.87%. Greens hit from rough percentage 58%. For all you non-believers out there, that's an easy stat to look at. And let's, for argument's sake, let's take a look at Nelly Corder here and look at her statistics, just so you don't think it's a fluke. Look at that. Greens hit from fairway percentage 81.93. Greens hit from rough percentage 57.03. So let's take a look at the percentage gain. 81.93 minus 57.03 equals 24.9. We take 24.9 divided by 57. She hits 43% more greens in regulation when she hits a fairway. That's the best lady golfer in the world. What do you think could happen to you if you hit more fairways? That's the quickest way to get scoring. But let's talk about this magic move because I know that's why you're here. So I synced these videos up for impact. So we have to unfortunately lose the left side address position. But what we're going to do is take a look at this triangle that she is making at her address. And this is midway and this is slightly back. And the takeaway, take a few frames. And the one thing I want to show you here is this immediate takeaway. And this is staying connected. If you are able to stay connected, this would mean your compensation moves will be at a bare minimum, which is the goal for amateurs. Most of our swings are just built upon compensations like a Lego set. We should come up with our own Lego set, the golf compensation Lego set, 3,000 pieces. So we're also going to put in a green line on both of these, that spine angle going right down to where that golf ball is. And on the right side, we can see that spine angle. And we do a quick little centeredness check, and we can see that it's a fairly centered check. And at you at home, if you want to do the centeredness check, make sure you put it in the arches of the heels, straight to the sky. Go ahead and draw your spine angle line from the back of the ears and the lower plane line, and they should all meet in this little area here. If they don't meet there, you are already on your way to some compensatory motions. Now keep in mind, it doesn't mean it's not a good setup. It just means that your swing might rely on more compensations. But if it works and you give yourself consistent shots, hey, don't change it. But we're going to look at the triangle action on her left side as well as the right side, because this is where the amateurs typically fall apart. It's that first 1 foot of their takeaway. And let's take a look as that club rises up that lower plane line. And what we can see from both of these is look at the triangle on the left. The right arm is not folding in. I see a lot of people get that right arm folding in because they hear it on TV. They get the right arm tucked to the side. You got to put that club cover underneath, and what that does is it makes your swing very narrow. And when your swing becomes narrow and you don't turn enough, all of a sudden your hands will have to break away at some point to make up for that turn. Most of us at home cannot turn enough. We start tucking our elbow to the right side. We're going to have some compensatory motions. That club's going to get sucked inside and it's going to be deadly from that point. So if you can create some width, now remember, width will come with turn. You cannot get this wide without enacting your turn. So the more you can turn, the better you are going to be connected. And more specifically, turn with the hips. It's okay to turn the hips. Try not to get those hips so stuck that you can't turn. Most of us aren't flexible enough. So that's where we start breaking away with our arms. So the key is to keep your hands in front of your chest at this point. A good way to check this is at home. If you have another club, and I know we all got other clubs floating around, we want to put another club right on our foot line. So at this point, your club shaft should be right over that foot line. The hands and the club head should be relatively close to that lower plane line. If you see that club sucking back, that club will be back over here and that right arm will be collapsed. Because what she is doing is she's creating some width and she's taking that same triangle and she takes it back. Now, if you take a look at right when the arms are parallel, right about here, we can now see that right triangle on the right side of the screen. Look at this. This is a beautiful connection. So we are essentially taking our address position, which is this red arrow, and we're turning it into the yellow arrow. We're not letting our arms cross the chest yet because we are enacting as much turn as we can. Specifically for you at home, get that turn and stay connected at least to this midway point, because what that'll do is will eliminate most of your compensatory motions from getting disconnected. Once you get disconnected, you have to reconnect in your downswing, and you only have a third of the time to do that. So that's where the inconsistencies come in. That's where our path and plane issues that impact are all over the place. And we see the right elbow just now starting to bend under, and that's okay. You don't want to be dead arm straight all the way back because then it might mess with your tilting. But the key is get your hands in front of your chest. So at that same down the line point of view, when you are recording yourself, you would like to check and see, are my hands still in the center of my shoulder tilt? If they are, bingo, you are still connected. You are as wide as you possibly can without falling over, without pulling yourself out of posture. And obviously this comes at a cost because some of us cannot get to that position. So you have to recognize, if you are in this position, where does it hurt? Where does it feel like it can stretch out more? Because that is what your body's telling you. Hey man, I can't do this. I've been sitting on TV watching Knight Rider all day long. I need to start stretching out. And listen to your body and stretch that position, because that'll help you stay more connected. Because what this will do is, once you've established your turn, then momentum can help you get those hands to get to that secondary plane line, as she does so perfectly here, and she's still deep enough where it's behind the centeredness, and that is key. If you can get behind your centeredness, you're on A Street, because now that club can work its way down that lower plane line much quicker and come from the inside, which is what we all hear about on YouTube and television and all these infomercials selling you tchotchkes, but there's no tchotchkes. The thing about her swing is, look at the amount of turn that she is able to establish at the top of her swing. Now, if I move my little head out the way, we can see that this club shaft is parallel to the ground. So Barney Purple will tell us that it's parallel because there's the ground, and that is one way to check it. But I guarantee you at home, if you get to parallel or even past parallel, your shoulder turn is nowhere near as much as hers are. So we're going to draw that in the same Barney Purple. Look at that amount of shoulder turn. Now, if this club was truly parallel to her shoulder turn, this is where the club will be. And we're going to draw this in our second favorite, yellow. That club will be way back over here. So you want to look at where the turn is, and you want to make sure that that club does not go past perpendicular to your turn. If anything, you want to be short of your turn. So she is short of her turn, which is great because she is still staying connected. She hasn't let her arms get in the way. They are still relatively in front of her chest. So we draw that in. There's her left shoulder, right shoulder. We can see that her hands are still relatively in front of her chest. Now, they might have crossed over slightly to the right side of her chest. That's fine. You do need your arms to cross back and forth. We're not Robbie the Robot, Johnny number 5. We have to get some crossing of the chest. But amateurs, you do more than cross the chest. You go all the way back over here like Gumby. And now when you turn through, you've got to do a lot of this makeup room. And that's where the chicken wing comes in. That's where the casting comes in. That's where the flubs and the tops, and you know, it sounds like me. But then once you're in this position, it becomes a lot easier because you're connected, you're coiled, your weight distribution is good to go. And from this point on, we just basically turn and tilt and remain in our spine angle. And I say that like it's an easy thing. It's not. But let's just be real about this. If you can get to the top position, you will start to emulate this impact position by being able to stay in your posture, which is this line. Let me move my fat head around, which is this line right here, and against that back brace line. It is very hard to stay in that posture when you have all these compensation flippy throwy moves that you have to now retime because you have become disconnected initially. This is the easiest way to check yourself. This is just an education video, but if you want to take it a step further, go ahead and email me. I've got a couple of drills I can send you over, some ideas to help you get more connected, to help you with your turn, with your tilt ratios, to keep that elongation there, because you need to be connected and wide. Remember, width will always beat length. Wait a minute, this is a family show. We just want a swing that's wider. Hope that helps you. I will see you next time. Let me know in the comments if you like this stuff. And don't forget, Sunday, 6 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Happy New Year. Fairways and greens.